We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.
Well, this is Countdown to kick-off. We return. The Reds got back to winning ways on the weekend, and this is the first of 2 games against Wolves this week. And we've got an extra guest today joining us today. Tom, as usual, welcome.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Good. And Jack, a late surprise, who's joined the show. How are you, Jack?
I'm good, mate. Making me debut on the A show.
No, I love to see it. Obviously, we're in a bit of a more happier mood following the result from the weekend, but the attention turns to this week where we face Wolves. And look, I was looking at team news earlier, and I think it'll be relatively unchanged heading into this one. Obviously, Florian Wirtz was still unsure as to his date and when he'll return. Joe Gomez, who impressed at right back as well on the weekend, should keep his spot, but we'll see what the manager does in that department. But the visitors are one that I think will really trouble, the ones that are going to trouble us this weekend in Wolves. And as I said, we've got them twice starting in the Premier League on Wednesday morning. Tom, to you first, do you think this will be a game that's going to be really tricky and tricky to break down for the Reds?
I think if Wolves play like they did against Aston Villa last week, I think it could be a really tricky game. I thought they were excellent and they were really strong in wide areas. Obviously, they've got lots of pace in wide areas. It's just whether they've quite got the quality. I think it comes down to the desire element for Wolves. I think if Wolves are right at it, I think it's a problem that Liverpool have had this season, lads, where we come up against teams who fancy it and sometimes we go into our shells. So I think it could be a really tricky game, but for me, it's one that we've got to go and turn them over and get the points.
Jack, they seem to be showing up for each other these last 2 weeks. That's something that I've noticed anyways. And do you feel like they're in a position now where they've obviously beat Villa at home, got a point against Arsenal? I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like they could be really tricky to break down at home.
Well, you don't get into a situation like they're in, like the points total, and we used the term Teddenberry before, didn't we, when we recorded the weekly show, without having those big blips. And look, that point against Arsenal was massive. The way he played against Villa was unbelievable. But there are 2 elements to that as well. I think if they play Arsenal, who are a team going for the title, who think they're just going to go in there and run over them, and they're like, no, not today, not against us. And then obviously Villa being like local rivals, they didn't want them to have a song and a dance. So I think if there's a game where the attention drops off, it's going to be this one. Or if not, outside the FA Cup game, whoever they play after us, they will get beat 4-0 in that game.
I think, yeah, they're obviously going to be tricky. Their fans seem to really get behind them and starting to buy into the football that they're playing at this back end of the season. Tom, something that I noticed in the Villa game in particular, that they started to play a bit more of a different look, a bit more of a different formation. We know we've got some creative players who can score goals for them, but they seem to have tightened things up defensively and maybe tweaked things that little bit.
Yeah, I think the managers came in and he's obviously got a really tough job on his hands, hasn't he? Because they've been diabolical this season, but they did tweak things against Villa. I think it was a more of a 3 at the back sort of situation, wasn't it? With more of an emphasis on the wing play. And look, they've got this kid Mane who, you know, if he's anything like the namesake, he'll turn out to be a decent player or more than a decent player. And I think he's one of the players who Liverpool need to keep a really close eye on. But, you know, Wolves have been they've been one of them clubs in the last couple of years where they just have never really managed to kick on. But they've got Akadore, who's the big lad up front, and he's definitely a threat. There's threats all around the pitch, and I think they're actually quite decent in the midfield. They've got high energy sort of players who'll have a crack. I think this game for me is about Liverpool starting quick and having a quick start, because if we play like we did against West Ham, I think we'll beat Wolves comfortably. But having said that, I don't think we were amazing against West Ham, but we were quite clinical. So it won't be an easy game, but look, we can't walk out of Molineux and not get 3 points. We'll be a laughing stock, I think.
I think, yeah, touching on your point, I think a fast start will be crucial, especially considering the fact of Wolves' recent results. You'd expect them to start quite energy, quite fast going. But Jack, Tom touched on it there. The Reds got back to winning ways on the weekend and picked up another win. It wasn't wasn't convincing in some sort of aspects, but then again, we scored 3 off set pieces, which was pleasing and something that we're only used to seeing from the table leaders, Arsenal. But I wanted to touch on Mo Salah because rarely often is it you see a Liverpool team score 5 goals and Salah not have a hand in any of the goals, really. And that's not to say he had a bad performance, but he didn't contribute in any ways. Do you think, what do you make of Salah at the minute? Is it a case of, other players are just stepping up and doing a lot better than him?
Yeah, it's a tough one with Mo, isn't it? Because my heart with Mo is like, no matter what, he goes down a legend. He's done everything at our football club. But his performances haven't been there. And that felt like a game when we watched the West Ham game, just before I fell asleep. Because that's how good we were. When you can sleep calmly, the Reds are doing all right. Yeah, like we were saying, this feels like a game where Mo jumps in and gets a couple of goals. And it did look like the players around him were trying to get him in, like Frimpong, trying to get Mo involved and get him his goal to try and to break that duct, if you like. So yeah, I think Wolves a very important game for Mo, because they should be dead and buried, and this should be a game where Mo can do something, I think.
I think Mo ranks second on the all-time goal-scoring charts in this fixture, so could be a game where Mo gets his name onto the score sheet, but that's where our predictions come into play. I'll start with you, Tom, first, because you're the king, I guess you could say, so far at the one bold cause with your Virgil van Dijk call a couple of weeks back. But
I only got one right, I only have one right.
Hold on. I'm on here just to say a broken clock is right twice a day.
You're certainly doing a lot better than myself in predictions this year, but hit me with it. What do you got this week?
Bold call. Well, I know Tan went for Joe Gomez this week, and there was a moment that it looked like Joe Gomez had half a chance.
It's got to come, surely.
Bold call. Look, I'm gonna say. I mean, we don't know the team news, do we? But you know what? Why not go Flo Wirtz comes on from the bench for the last 10 minutes, Liverpool needing a goal, and he bags himself a goal.
Nice.
Jack?
Formation wise, what are we thinking from Wolves? This is important with my prediction.
I don't know. They'll probably go 3 at the back, won't they?
Yeah, that's the way they're sort of playing at the minute, and then starting to use those creative plays in the middle. But yeah, I'd be looking at 3 personally.
3 at the back. Honestly, this is a game I think could be a 4-0, or we could get beat 2-1. And we'll go, how did that happen? So many times this season. How did that happen? No, I'll go 4-0, and I fancy Frimpong to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, I like that little flash of pace he showed for that 5th goal, and it doesn't go down as his goal, but good to see him back on the park. I've gone for a Salah goal on either side of half-time. I think this game's built for him. If it's not this game, it surely is the weekend, because like you touched on, Jack, he just seems to be a little bit off the pace at the minute. So, Tom, Jack's gone with 4-0 or 2-1. We don't know yet. But what are you going for in this one?
I'm going to go for 3-0.
3-0.
3-0. Hold on, wait there. I've just said Wirtz is going to come on.
Comes on last 10 minutes. We need a goal.
Right, I'm going to change it. 1-0, Wirtz comes on.
Wirtz scores a winner off the bench. Love it.
Do you do this every week? Do you give 3 different predictions and then use whatever one comes in?
Yeah, Harry just edits them in later.
The power of editing. No, I've gone for a 2-1 Liverpool win and a Salah to get both goals. I think the last 3 games in the Premier League between these two sides have resulted in 2-1 games. So why not happen a 4th time? So that's what I'll go for. I'll go 2-1, Salah to score us, help us get a win at the Molineux, and hopefully carry that momentum into Saturday. But lads, as always, thank you for coming on. Jack, debut appearance.
Thank you, mate. I loved it. It's nice being here.
It's good.
Beautiful to be here.
Yeah, we don't normally invite Jack because it's Countdown to Kickoff's got a bit of a younger vibe, so.
Yeah, I'm too old for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, H, before we go, mate, thanks to everyone for backing Countdown to Kickoff, who's been listening and watching. It's obviously a new podcast, and Harry's doing a great job, and this comes out every match day as a bit of a pre-game build-up, And the weekly show is basically our look back at everything that's happened in the week, and we do a bit of trivia on there. That comes out every Tuesday.
Love it. Well, make sure you do check out the weekly show. Tom's promoted it there, and be sure to keep track across all the socials for Reds Down Under. But Tom and Jack, as we always sign off with, up the Reds.
Up the Reds.
Up the Reds.